Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a review of the Essie Ballet Nudes collection. I'd walked by this collection several times in the store and I was having a hard time deciding if I really wanted to pick it up. But after seeing several swatches online, I decided that I was going to go ahead and do that review for you guys. And I'm happy I did. I'm really impressed with a lot of these polishes. And if you're new to my channel, I did a review of these Essie Gel Couture polishes several months ago when they first released them last year. And you can go ahead and watch that. These are gel polishes and there's no light required to cure these, and they last, well, they claim to last up to 14 days. I have about 9 or 10 days of good wear out of them. And I go into more depth in my video, so you can go ahead and check that out. So I decided to pick up this polish line. There's 6 polishes that were released in the other collection. I think there was like 42, there was a million. And I think I have about 10 of those shades, but I didn't get all of them. It's just way too many polishes to purchase, but I felt like I could get 6 polishes. So, okay, let's go ahead and get into the review. And the first one I have is Satin Slipper, and Essie describes this as a silky champagne nude, which it definitely is. Now it shows up a little warmer in the swatch that I have and maybe a little yellow, but it does have some pink. It's kind of a pinky champagne color. And it has that gorgeous silver shimmer that a lot of these gel couture polishes do. The formula is really good on this, I think, depending on how you apply the polish and how thin or thick you do your layers. So let's go ahead and get into the swatch for this one.
And this is the first coat of Satin Slipper. It's a little bit sheer, but we'll see how much it builds up on the second coat. And on the second coat, it builds up quite well. I think if you do some thin layers, you're going to definitely have to do 3, but it builds up pretty well in 2 coats.
And the next one I have is Lace Me Up, and Essie describes this as a misty rose pink, and it definitely is a really soft pink. I really like it. It's perfect for this collection. Light pink colors are some of my favorites, and it's not bright, it's really subtle. And the formula is really great on this one as well. And this is called Lace Me Up, and let's get into the swatch for this one.
And here's the first coat of Lace Me Up. It's such a pretty soft pink. I really love this one. It's a little bit sheer in the first coat, so I'm going to go ahead and do a second. And as you can see in the second coat, it builds up way better than I thought it would. I'm really impressed with it. I think, again, though, if you do thin coats, you're going to have to maybe do 3. And that's 2 coats of Lace Me Up.
Next I have At the Bar, and this is a soft cinnamon nude. Essie describes it as that. It really reminds me of almost of chocolate milk, but not so dark. And it's actually the closest nude that I found to my skin tone than any other nude in the swatches. It kind of brings out the red in my hands, but it's actually pretty similar to my skin tone. And when I had this on, I was really surprised how much I liked it. These nude polishes, I think, are meant to lengthen your fingers and make them look long, but my fingers are really long already, and so I don't wear nudes that are my same skin tone very often, but this is the closest that I found that matches my skin tone, and I really liked it. I was surprised how much I liked it. So I think I'll get some wear out of this one, even though I thought I wouldn't. And let's get into the swatch of At the Bar.
And here's the first coat of At the Bar, and the formula on this is really fantastic. It's slightly jelly, and it's just really nice. And I'm going to go ahead and do a second coat, and it's completely opaque in 2 coats. So that's 2 coats of At the Bar.
And this is Perfect Posture, and Essie describes this as a periwinkle powder blue, which is a perfect description. It's powder blue, and it does just have just a touch of purple. In these swatches, it's going to look just kind of a powdery blue, but in person you can see that it does have a little bit of a purple tone to it. And it's just a straight up cream, and the formula was fantastic. This is one of my favorite ones out of this collection. I love these periwinkle polishes. They're my favorite, especially in the spring and summertime, so I can see myself getting a lot of use out of this one. And let's get into the swatch for Perfect Posture.
And here's the first coat of Perfect Posture, and it really is such a beautiful color. It's not quite opaque in 1, but it really builds up in 2, as you'll see here. And the formula is just fantastic on this one as well. And that's 2 coats of Perfect Posture.
And then I have Hold the Position, and Essie describes this as a fierce coral peach pink. I don't know that it's quite fierce. I think it's actually quite soft and subtle. And if you watch my review of the Essie Gel Couture line, the review that I do, I use this polish called Couture Curator. I have a hard time saying that word. Anyway, this is my favorite Essie Gel Couture polish. And it's very similar to this one. I think when I swatch them together, when I do my comparisons for this line, in my blog post, you'll see that this one's actually quite a little bit brighter and a little more pink. And this one's more peach and more of a subtle color. So I really like this one. And let's get into the swatch for Hold the Position.
And here's the first coat of Hold the Position. Really, really great formula on this one as well. Quite creamy, it doesn't run, it's just perfect consistency. I'm going to go ahead and do 2 coats because it's not quite opaque in one. And that's 2 coats of Hold the Position.
And then we have Closing Night, and Essie describes this as a soft shimmering gray. I love this. It's a gray that has maybe a touch of blue, and I think maybe that's just because it has that gorgeous blue shimmer that's all through it, and it's very subtle. It's not going to show up very much on your fingers, but it's going to give it a nice sheen. And this polish was also one that drew me to the line. I just really like it. I think it's unique, and I don't really have anything like it. So let's get into the swatch for Closing Night.
And here's the first coat of Closing Night. It has a very nice formula. It's very similar to other Essie Couture polishes in this line that have this shimmer. And it's completely opaque in 2 coats. And that's 2 coats of Closing Night.
That's all the polishes. I hope you guys liked this review, and I hope it was helpful, and so that you can see which polishes that you might want to pick up. And I'll put a link down below to places you can purchase these polishes for cheaper, because they are pretty expensive in the store, but you can get them cheaper online. And stay tuned, because I have the OPI collection for spring and summer 2017, the Fiji collection that I'm going to be swatching, and I'm also waiting on the Essie spring collection as well too. So I'm excited to have those reviews, and give me a thumbs up in this video. That would really help me out, and don't forget to subscribe. Okay, we'll talk to you later. Thanks guys.